Hello everyone, thanks for joining me. I'm Carol from Practical Mystic, and as you can see today, we are moving forward on days of birth in any month that you were born on. What we look at is the meaning, the vibrational tone, the aspects of the numbers and the planets and the elements and challenges. And today we have something a little more interesting than just the 13-4 energy. We are also going to be looking at the first of what numerologists consider a karmic number. There's 4 of them. Today, the number 13 is considered a karmic number vibration. We're going to discuss that. Let's begin with the planets for the number 13. Of course, 4 when we add up 1 and 3. We'll talk about that here a little later on. But the planets are Uranus and Pluto. The sun signs or rising signs that you want to look at if you have them are Aquarius and Scorpio. The elements are earth and fire. Now, some of you immediately may say those elements do not correspond to those zodiac signs, and you're absolutely correct. For this number particularly, the elements correspond to the numbers in numerology. The energy is yin and yang, or masculine, feminine. It's also known as active and receptive. So it is dualistic in its nature, and the challenge is you always take the higher, greater number and subtract it from the lesser. Here, in this case, we have a 2 challenge. We'll be discussing this also at the end of our video. So note, which I have put in every one of the double digits date of birth, all double digits day of the birth add emphasis to the life path number. So please take note of that. If you are born with the double digits and looking at your life path number, and you have a number 1, a number 3, or a number 4 life path number, then this information really applies to you in greater intensity. Let's decide what they mean by a karmic number, the 13-4. And in parentheses, this is what numerologists have contributed, is the karmic death, if you will. There's an abuse of power. What kind of power? I'm sure it ranges from individual to individual, but the power was not used constructively. This lifetime, you may experience unwelcome change and unexplained circumstances. Proper use of your skills and talents this lifetime are instrumental in your personal process. Taking the initiative to overcome the challenges before you will build inner forces that ultimately transform the way you perceive reality. Very important, how you perceive your life, your reality for this karmic number 13-4. The lesson is learning resilience. And what I mean by that is being able to bounce back, turn the other cheek, and not give up. Seek to know your purpose. Find out what your life path number is and all the potentials and gifts that you are given this lifetime. Acceptance of those things that cannot be changed. And one key word is transformation for this lifetime. You are transforming. You're here to transform. Okay, in general, the 13-4 date of birth on any month is a number vibration of 3, unity, working through the consciousness of the number 1, which is individuality, which can find itself in opposition in thought and action. You're asking someone who is looking at the collective, trying to unite with someone who thinks in an individual self way. So we understand that immediately from the 13 vibration. Often the individual questions who they are or what they should do. In other words, the expansion of consciousness of number 3 finds the limitation of the original life force number 1. Therefore, an agreement needs to be made in order for a new form, 3 and 1 is 4, you're going to get then understanding, then to create on a higher level, to move ahead once that agreement is made. And there usually isn't going to be a process of achievement until that energy of 3 working through 1 is obtained. Those born on the 13th day are original, hardworking, have a managerial quality and many hands-on skills. They are deep thinkers, but mostly keep their thoughts and emotions to themselves. They wish to leave a legacy behind and to be known as productive and worthy individuals. They also tend to want to control or keep things status quo, fixed, and not always willing to make changes that may be beneficial in the long run. Depending on the life path number, and if other areas of the chart have numbers 4 or 8 prominent, that means in your complete date of birth, the individual could have difficulty expressing emotions, personal needs, and communication skills. To fully understand the energy of this number vibration, we need to look at the corresponding planets and related properties. Now, we're going to do that here briefly. The number 4 and 1 vibrates to Uranus, which are the ruler of the sign Aquarius. So if you have an Aquarius sun sign or ascendant, here we have greater capacity. This endows the individual to seek justice and be somewhat a visionary. This can also add a sense of detachment on an emotional level. When out of balance, the individual is scattered, restless, nervous, and unable to focus properly. The negative side of Uranus becomes self-destructive, so you have to look at both the 4 and the 1 in your date of birth and the sign Aquarius, and also rising or prominent. Maybe you have a lot of planets in the house of Aquarius. With the 4 vibration, the family is highly important. Providing for the family, improvement towards the family, and to continue the lineage of each generation are strongly held beliefs. Pluto, Scorpio. Now we get to how that 4 is transformational, and the 22, which is kind of usually connected with the planet Pluto and Scorpio. Then here, these energies of Pluto is the urge to reform. The number 3, which is corresponding to the planet Jupiter, is the expansion of consciousness. Remember, we said 3, unity wants to work through 1. Now that can be obtained when the hidden, we can also look at it as the shadow of all the 3 energies are addressed. That means number 1, 3, and 4. Some negative aspects, other words for shadow, are the individual is fearful, changeable, power hungry, unyielding, self-serving, greedy, calculating, and a know-it-all. And life may get their attention through some crisis and wake-up call. They are destined to succeed. All 13 4s are destined to succeed. change and change others in positive ways, but they must be the one that makes that choice to change, to make those necessary transformational ways of your reality, your way of thinking. Most often, it's through a symbolic death and rebirth process. Now, that ties us to the 13th card in the tarot, known as the Death card. And it is related, corresponding to the sun sign Scorpio. So it's all tied in together. On some level, it's their mission to break free from a previous cycle which has been limiting or self-defeating. Now that really goes in with the karmic debt of the 13-4 energy. Now the double twos of the 22 is a key. This is the blessing. This is the gift. Opening the emotional centers and allowing the power of this vibration to work through you. Uncovering the untapped resources, abilities, and knowledge you hold within. Occupations for the 13-4, teachers, construction workers, salesmen, accounting, designing, ecology, architecture, farming, writers, military generals, or any type of work which requires individual skills of detail and statistics. There is a need to be physically active and or push oneself to exercise, as this energy can become complacent and laid back, kind of happy in a comfort zone, and exercise and physical activity is not on their mind. The challenge, the 2 which we spoke of earlier when we subtracted the 3 from the 1, so the 13-4 does have a 2 challenge, which is interesting because the 22-2 energy is the key. It is the self-love, self-understanding, seeking to express the emotions, its desires. That's going to open up the individual. The 2 challenge are to be one willing to cooperate and be open to ideas that seem contradicting to your personal beliefs and convictions. So what it's saying is the individuality of who you are and your personal reality and your own self-imposed limitations or your ego senses is now saying, okay, I am willing to open up to the contradicting energy of the number 2 and what that holds. The number 3 is working through dissolving whatever the individual in his evolutionary process finally discovers is limiting his creativity and his true essence. That life doesn't always need to be serious and laborious. The number 13 is here looking to remember the healing qualities of emotions and the unifying forces within feelings shared. It will take his willingness to face this challenge by reuniting disowned parts of himself at this time. This can also be achieved through the healing aspect of love and love relationships with self and others. So I am going to leave it there, my friends. Of course, if you have any questions concerning this information, please feel free to email me or leave it in the comments section. I appreciate everyone that has been following this series. Thank you, everyone. Hope you all have a fantastic weekend. We'll talk again soon.